Hey guys, Toast here. Thought I would just kind of talk a little bit about the lap and kind of maybe what's going through my mind, some tips I can give to anyone else who's coming here for their first time. Obviously, I'm not the fastest driver, not the best driver. I'm just a guy who takes his daily driver Mustang out on track and has fun with it, uses it and abuses it, and make sure I can always drive home with it. So, I'm probably never going to push, even 9 tenths. I'm probably more in the 7 to 8 tenths. And with this being my first time here, I don't even know if I ever really got to the 7 tenths level, especially not the first day. But this was my best lap of the second day of the last session of that day, where I kind of finally broke under, getting 150 lap times. I think this ended up being 147. And the Garmin said I had a 143 in me if I, did all my best segments all together in one lap. Um, so just kind of start the lap. So I guess just one thing to note is like the start finish line is actually on this front stretch, not where it's marked kind of on the track map here. For whatever reason, Race Chrono wasn't working with the layout that had it there. I think there is a track layout of this track where basically where we were coming in for the pits is actually part of the track. Like I think this is like a little cut through. Um, so I think that might have been what confused it. So I'm going to kind of talk through it as though it was the real start finish, not necessarily what's, I guess, on the lap timer here. Um, so kind of because of that, this front stretch, back stretch, whatever you want to call it, is, you know, important for your lap speed because that's going to be where you carry your most speed. So how you come into it is really important. So I'm just going to start here, coming out of the S's after the carousel, and kind of talk about it from there. Um, So, kind of as you're coming out here, you want to stay to the right because you're going to have this sharp left coming in. Um, and then what I found was helpful was kind of staying to the outside, um, just because it kind of widened the turn a little bit. And then kind of my focus was I wanted to get on the gas as fast as possible coming out of this final turn to when you get onto the kind of the straightaway. So I kind of stay towards the outside, and then I start to cut in. Ideally, so I'm here out on the right, and I can make this a little bit of wider turn and get on the gas a little sooner. Uh, for this kink, I'm not taking it flat out. I'm lifting maybe like half throttle, but really you're just kind of feeling what your tires are telling you. Um, the car and the tires are going to tell you how much grip you have and how much speed you can carry through here. I think I was generally, somewhere between like 70 and 75 miles an hour. Um, I think maybe I got my highest up to like 80, but that was my speedometer 80, not the GPS speed. And my speedometer is always wrong because I'm always messing with tire sizes because I run a different tire size for daily than I run on track, and the speed was always confused. Um, anyways, once you're out of the kink, you just gotta stay on the throttle. At least for us, there was this little dirt patch kind of here on the right. You can kind of see it there. For the most part, that was where I started to lift. Again, this is my daily, so I'm never going to push, as hard as I possibly can. Um, so I would usually lift around here and then brake hard at the curbing. You can just brake hard at this curbing. Um, there's plenty of room. I just am a little cautious. And we did have someone in the session before this who, um, unfortunately, it sounded like their ABS kicked in, and they just kind of ended up locking up and they hit that tire wall pretty hard, which I don't want to do. So I just, I'd rather be a little slow and safe than getting every last second I can out of the car. This turn, you want to take it a little bit later than I did here. Um, I have a hard time with late turns just because I always want to turn in early because I'm like, oh, there's a turn, we should turn. But if you do take this late, then you're straightening it out a lot and you're not having to put as much input, so you'll have a higher minimum speed. And there is a little straightaway, but you're not going to gain that much speed here. I get the point by here, so I have to take this next turn super narrow. Ideally, I would like to be, like another car length out. Obviously, he's already tucked in behind me, but it's kind of hard to check your mirrors while you're turning, so I don't know exactly where he was in all of this yet. Um, So again, I think the next time I come around here and I'm more middle of the track here, and that just makes this a little bit easier. And then you can get out to this outside curbing here. Because really, your biggest thing you're trying to set up with that entire sequence is you want to be on the outside of this final turn, so that way you can make this kind of a later turn and get on the gas as soon as you can, because you are going to have, again, a little straightaway here. So you want to have as much speed as you can, so you can carry it down the straightaway as long as you can. This curbing here, I found was a little bit harsh, this curbing here on the right. Kind of if I touched it, it really jerked my car to the left. So I try to get close to it but not touch it. And again, you kind of see this turn goes a little bit to the right before it goes left, but you don't really care about that. You're just aiming for, your inside curbing here. Again, I found these curbs just a little bit harsh, so I didn't necessarily try and run over it, just get close to them. Obviously, could have gotten closer here. And then you can kind of see a little bit easier in the tow cam in the bottom right, but you got to see that there's this seam throughout this entire turn. This turns a triple left. So I just kind of tried, I probably should be maybe a half a car length more to the outside just to keep it a little bit wider, but I kind of tried to straddle this seam. And then you've got this blind downhill left for the last turn. Again, in the tow hook camera, you can kind of just barely see that there's a tire stack out there. Um, I didn't really look at the tire stack, but it did seem like a lot of other people were looking for that. I just was kind of looking through the turn. Um, Having your eyes ahead is really going to help. And then also, if you notice, I did move my hands a little bit, which is something I have the bad habit of not doing, where normally my hands would be locked at that 10 and 2 position, but this is just such a long and sharp turn that you really got to make sure that you're not locked with your grip on the wheel and that you let it move around a little bit. Um, Again, you're just kind of feeling where the grip of the car is at, and then trying to get to the inside of that one, which will pretty much line you up perfectly for that. This turn here, again, is another late turn in. I think I did okay on that one. Again, you just kind of turn in late, and then as soon as you see that you can, get on the gas and stay on it. Depending on how much power and downforce and everything on your car is, if you do fully commit coming up this, they call it the ski jump, and you'll find out why it's a ski jump. On one lap, I did, send it as hard as I could all the way up the hill, and I felt, at least 2 tires get off the ground if it wasn't all 4. So I decided not to do that again. It's a fun feeling. Wish I got a photo, but I can't imagine it's very good on the suspension. But once you're here, you just kind of get on the throttle, stay on speed. I probably stopped, generally around 95 to 100. When you do get to the crest of the hill, you want to make sure you're on the left because the track does kind of veer to the left a little bit. So if you're here on the left, you see it shoot you out on the middle. So if you're on the middle, it's going to shoot you out to the right. And if you're on the right, then it's going to shoot you in the wall, so don't be the right. So if you can be the left, that's generally where you want to be just because you're going to have the most safety. Let's see if I can... Where was it? There should have been... Yeah, there we go. You got to see out the front window, there's this dirt patch here on the right, and that was kind of what I was using as my brake marker. For the carousel itself, you want to enter it in from the top, just that way it's a little smoother. If you get your left tire kind of in as soon as it starts, it's a pretty smooth transition. My car is lowered, and I do have some things hanging a little bit lower than stock as well. On the underneath, like I think my transmission pan is the lowest thing, and I put it expanded to try and help with the heat and everything there, so it hangs a little bit lower. So if I entered here, kind of coming over it like it's a skateboard ramp or something like that, then I didn't scrape. If I turned in late, I would scrape, and then obviously you don't want to hit it straight on. You want to kind of roll into it. Once you're in there, you just kind of hold whatever speed you had. You're just going to feel, again, and kind of the tires and the car is just going to tell you what to do. It should be pretty natural feeling. You can carry a lot more speed than you think in here. Um, I think in my fastest I was, well, at least my speedo was telling me I was like 55, but again, my speedo's kind of unreliable because I have different track size tires and daily tires, and my speedo's always confused. But hold whatever speed that you kind of enter it in at, and then once you're out, you accelerate out, and then this is where we started the video at. So you, again, just kind of stay to the right. You're gonna have this left, and then I try and stay a little bit wide through here. This one I cut in a little bit early, so you can see I'm kind of not in position where I want to be, because I end up getting closer to this outside curb, which is now the inside curb, which means I'm making this a little bit tighter, which means I'm just not having as much speed coming out of the turn. Because you do have the kink, it's not the end of the world, because you can only carry so much speed through there. But then this would be about where the start finish line is. So again, now we're just kind of past that little dirt patch, back in here, hard on the brakes, turn in late. And those times that I'm not passing a car just kind of show. I was taking this a little more normally, where again I'm in the kind of the middle of this double right here. So you can see I'm not hugging it super tight. I'm kind of in the middle of the track. Again, trying to keep your eyes up. Again, really crank the wheel because everything's really sharp turns here. And then you also can see my coolant is getting a little hot, so I don't know if it was this lap or the next lap where I finally noticed how hot it was running and I started to back off a little bit. But that's a lap around Shenandoah. Maybe it helps someone, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. I just thought I would give this a try. If you have any feedback, let me know. Otherwise, thank you guys for watching.